Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week of CRL. Today, we are going to be recapping week one and getting into our predictions for week two, as well as our power rankings of how these teams stand. There's been a lot of stuff going on, so let's get right into what happened this last week, where we see quite a few things. So we're going to start up in the East. Obviously, you guys can go ahead, look at all the games. Big ones I want to talk about, though, starting off Brewton-Parker 3-2 against Nichols College. Brewton-Parker I put at 15th at the start of the week. And Nichols I put at 7th, I believe. Yeah, 7th. So big upset in my eyes. Nichols College clearly not on point. Brewton-Parker really showing that, hey, they got some fight in them to actually start contending. Of course, they did lose to Ball State after that, so it kind of brought things back into perspective of, okay, that might have just been a little bit of an upset. Next one I want to talk about, Fisher College. The main Fisher roster, 1-3, sorry, against Northwood White. Northwood White won that against Fisher College. And that's not like some massive crazy upset or anything, but that these high level matches are ones that we want to talk about because of things, relating to the bracket. At the end of the day, top 6 are making nationals, only top 2 are going to be in that upper bracket. So we're looking at the teams who, are beating the other top dogs. So the fact that even though Fisher beat Ole Miss, they lost to Northwood White, does mean that we're going to see a little bit of fight for the top. Speaking of losing at the top teams, Northwood White next. We can just go ahead and highlight that one actually. Losing 1-3 to Illinois State, which is absolutely just mind blowing. This is absolutely an upset. One of the biggest upsets of the week. There were a lot of upsets in the East this week, in all honesty. Illinois State, their only win this week. They only played once this week. Their win was beating Northwood White, who was debatably or most likely a top 6 East team. So if Illinois State, can come out strong in week 2, we're going to see them rising the ranks pretty darn fast. And then the last one I want to talk about, which you can see at both ends, West Virginia versus Akron Blue. It was West Virginia's first match of the season, and they lost it to Akron Blue. Akron Blue are looking really solid. I think I might have undervalued them a bit before the season started. West Virginia, I do know that Daunt wasn't playing for the entire week before that match. So maybe there was a little bit of, rustiness happening. They did manage to, of course, come back, beat Rochester and Nichols. But this is going to be a really intense matchup between all of these rosters. It's going to be very exciting to see. And then looking at the West, big ones I want to talk about. We're going to go directly to Columbia Silver. 2 losses already. To SDSU, San Diego State. And just last night, right before I recorded this, 1-3 versus UNLV. This is big. I had thought Columbia Silver, these players are new playing together and everything like that, so they won't have the chemistry. I said that they would maybe lose to 2 teams that are not going to be top 8, and they did it in the first week. So who knows what's going on there. Other ones I want to talk about, Colorado State, my school, CSU. You can actually barely see the flag. It's very bright that time. Beating Dragones Carolina. This is a lot of people's first time really seeing CSU in action, and 3-1 against Dragones. It wasn't the prettiest match, but just say, hey, you should probably start at least considering us top 8 West. And then losing to St. Edwards. Other big ones, looking over to UNLV again. They beat Kansas 3-2. So 2 teams that I put in the top 8, UNLV have now beaten. I don't know what to think of that because I'm still not convinced by UNLV, which is so stupid to say, but Kansas weren't playing well. Columbia College Silver, everyone agreed in Taco's chat, they were scared for some reason. So it's like UNLV deserved the wins, but at the same time, it feels like it was more of teams losing than UNLV winning. I think that match completely could have gone differently had Columbia College Silver just been where we expect them to be. And then the final ones I want to talk about. I don't know why. Why do I have Maryville versus Mizzou? I don't know why that one's bolded, but I want to talk about Missouri S&T versus Lubbock Christian. Oh, that's why, because it was right next to it. Missouri S&T beating Lubbock Christian. This is a team that made it in qualifier number 1. A lot of people actually had pretty high praises for Lubbock Christian, and I wasn't one of them. I was kind of confused because sure, individually the players have a little bit of six-man stuff, but I mean, we've never seen them in the pro or bubble scene for that much. I hadn't recognized any of their names going into this, and so I'm like, okay, I mean, like, maybe they'll be good. Everyone else thinks they'll be good. I put them probably the lowest out of anyone in the Western Conference, and they lose to Missouri S&T, which I feel like is really just like that first staple of like, okay, Missouri S&T can beat them. They're probably bottom 8. Missouri S&T is one of those like middle, like around 8 to 10 range, I would say. And so, I think that this just is a good indication of where we're sitting. And I forgot to make a leaderboard graphic for this week, so we're just going to look at it here. Fisher on top, Akron Blue, Northwood Blue, and Illinois State are the only 3 teams remaining after week 1 to not have a loss. That's actually really fast. And I think Northwood Blue's definitely going to be the only one who has the possibility of keeping that way. I don't see Akron Zips um, going 15-0, but honestly, I think that the East is going to be incredibly close this time around. I think that 13-2 is going to be the highest. 3-12 is probably going to be the lowest, just because so many teams are able to do well. And then you see those 5 teams at the bottom unable to get a win. St. Clair, of course, their only loss, as we can just look quickly below, is to Ole Miss. So 2-3, not surprising for St. Clair. Kennesaw State was also really close, losing to Fisher. So, and then we start getting to like Oakland losing 2, Rochester losing 3. Those ones were fairly expected. And then Nichols is the unexpected one, losing to, of course, West Virginia and Northwood Blue, which is like, okay, those are pretty fair. And then Brewton-Parker in that upset. And then moving over to the West real quick, things are looking decently more standard. I mean, Boise, Columbia, Oklahoma Christian, Maryville, St. Edwards, all haven't dropped a series. UNLV is also there. They're now 2-0. Liquipedia just hasn't been updated because that did just happen right before I've been recording this. A few teams that haven't gone a win yet. Lubbock Christian, Kansas, UT Arlington, and Borregos are the 3. So, lots of competitive fighting this time around. Going to be very exciting to see. And so we come back to the slideshow. I'm basically just going to update the slideshow every week for how we are feeling. We're going to start off in the East, working our way from the bottom back up. This time, we have some good number indication for how we're doing. Rochester at 16th. I put them there before. Nothing's really changed. They lost all their series. I have Oakland at 15th before I had Brewton-Parker. Oakland lost to Akron Gold this week. Brewton-Parker, of course, got those upset wins. So Oakland, I felt like needed to drop. Brewton-Parker go up by 1 because of that win over Nichols, but also being swept by Ball State really brought that back down to earth really fast. So I only brought them up by 1. Ball State, I dropped by 2. I wasn't massively happy with their stuff, but I know that they haven't been able to practice much. And also, Guh had like finger braces on, I believe, 3 of his fingers from playing football. So I'm going to assume that had a little bit to do with their performance, because I couldn't imagine playing with 3 of those like little finger sprain brace things. You guys know what I'm talking about, like the little metal wrap with styrofoam. Yeah. Moving on to number 12, we have Akron Zips Gold. Did beat Oakland. They got swept by Akron Blue, but I mean, Gold honestly looked decently solid. And Gold did beat Ball State. So, I mean, that's a pretty reasonable way for them to go above Ball State, is by actually just beating them head to head. Moving then on to Fisher Black, who we dropped by one. Nothing really changed for them. I believe it was just the fact that I now have Illinois State up decently bit higher because of their win over Northwood White. We have Nichols College, similarly Illinois State, but also the fact that Nichols College lost to Brewton-Parker. It just felt like we can't keep them up in top 8 after that performance. St. Clair Gold, I didn't really see a need for them to move. They only played that one match against Ole Miss, so it's like there's no really indication for any reason to bring them up or down. Then we have Kennesaw State, which I brought down 2 because I was just that impressed with Illinois State at now number 7, moving up 5 places. I have to say, Sith is actually like one of my favorite players to watch this semester. Like, this is the no mansion team, quote unquote. Sith and CG are putting in so much work that I think honestly puts them above Kennesaw State at this point. I was so surprised by how well they did, and we'll have to hope to see similar results in the near future. Number 6, we have Akron Blue. They're moving up to number 6 from number 8. As I said earlier, I think I definitely undervalued Akron Blue a decent bit. I mean, they're looking really solid, in all honesty, and especially with their win over WVU. Like, how can you not put them at least top 6 when they're beating what was considered a number 1, if not just top 2 team in the East? So big ups for Akron Blue. And then Northwood White, I had no changes, honestly. I think that their loss to Illinois State was a little bit of a fluke, but it also really got balanced by them beating Fisher. So it's like, okay, they lose to a team that's below them, but they beat a team that's above them. So in the end, they still should be about relatively the same. Then we have Ole Miss. I mean, yeah, they're just doing their thing. Nothing's really changed for them. Fisher, I haven't put any change. I think that there's still going to be, a lot of the upper level teams, and I think that'll be good enough for them. West Virginia, I dropped 1. Obviously, that loss to Akron Blue. Can't really put you at number 1 when you have Northwood Blue, who are still undefeated and looking honestly incredible. Northwood Blue are really, it seems like, putting in that time and effort. And then, of course, moving on to the West, where things weren't shaken up as much, but there definitely was a little bit. I had to actually go back through this right before recording because I had this done a couple of days ago, and I just had to redo it because of UNLV beating Columbia College Silver. So we're going to start off UT Arlington at number 16. And this one really just comes down to they lost to my old number 16, which is Mizzou. I mean, UT Arlington, they're just not looking very good at this point. They've only lost to Mizzou and Columbia College, the Navy team. So, I mean, the Mizzou team loss isn't great, but it just felt wrong to keep them above Mizzou because I was going to put them at, I think, like 14 or 15 and Mizzou right below them. But, like, it feels wrong. Like, Mizzou just beat them, and this is one of those ones where I think UT Arlington might just sadly be on the bottom. Then San Diego State also moving up purely because of that UT Arlington reason. As well as them beating Columbia College Silver. I think that one was definitely a fluke still, but, they have to go up a little bit for that upset win. Missouri S&T going down by 1. Previously, I had them just slightly higher. They didn't have any change. And then UNLV came in. It's going to move all the way up to them. +3, upsetting both Kansas and Columbia College Silver. I don't think that they'll go above them in standings. I'm still not convinced by UNLV. I think that there's a lot of other top 10 teams that are going to be beating them. That's going to keep them down, but we'll just have to see. Also, I wasn't sure about Lubbock Christian. I kind of just brought them down because we don't have any results about them, and I felt like UNLV having those 2 upset wins kind of just pushes them up in the league play ranking. Because this is how I expect the league play rankings to end. By the way, this isn't just like who's better. This is how I expect this to end. UNLV having those upsets, I'm going to put them above Lubbock Christian until LCU can get those wins as well. Followed by Kansas, obviously dropping a little bit because of their loss to UNLV. Dragonas Carolina at number 9. And I don't have too much to go off of this. I don't know if they really needed to. I think it was more of just moving them around because of everyone else moving around them. Their only win this week was to Missouri S&T. They lost to Boise, Oklahoma Christian, and CSU, I believe. So, they're still losing to only teams that are above them in the rankings, beating teams below them. So it was more of just moving them around because it felt wrong to have Kansas higher, considering UNLV just beat them. Number 8, we have Borregos, not moving at all. Number 7, Colorado State, not moving at all. Actually, let's just keep going. No movement in my top 8, in all honesty. After their loss to UNLV, Columbia Coach Silver, it's debatable. Before I had said it's like a 95% chance that Columbia College Silver gets that 6th seed. Now it's gone down to like a 50% chance. Like Colorado State, Borregos, maybe even Dragonas or Kansas could definitely swoop in and take that number 6 spot from Columbia College Silver, even UNLV or maybe Lubbock Christian. So the possibilities of making nationals have really opened up now that Columbia College Silver have lost 2 matches to teams that I would put below them. We'll have to see if they're able to do any better this upcoming week. Otherwise, they're going to drop pretty hard in the rankings. And then moving on now to our stream predictions. And there we go. Only thing is that Danger Taco will only have 2 streams on Wednesday night. So Vaudible's Tuesday, Danger Taco Wednesday, and the main stream on twitch.tv/Rocket League. All the channels will be linked down below, hopefully, unless I forget. But yeah, Taco will only have the back-to-back Kennesaw State matches. I believe it was Boise State versus Oklahoma Christian was supposed to be on there. Not sure. That might be incorrect, but yeah, just one of those matches got canceled just today. So we're gonna start off Borregos against Oklahoma Christian. Obviously Oklahoma Christian's gonna win. I mean, we just saw my rankings. I'm going to give Borregos 1. They tend to have a decently good play. And Oklahoma Christian haven't really guaranteed anyone's trust just yet. They've looked pretty solid, but I think that there are going to be moments where Borregos definitely can beat them, especially after St. Edward's just swept Oklahoma Christian on a Danger Taco stream. They looked a little shaky at times. They were putting in a lot of offense, but just weren't fighting the defense or the final goal. So I think Borregos have the ability to take that final game. Then moving on to a really spicy match. Vaudible's getting some good content. West Virginia against Northwood White. Of course, we're probably going to be seeing 1 or 2 of these top teams playing against each other, top matches every week, because there's just so many top teams this time around. West Virginia against Northwood White. This is actually a really close one. I'm obviously going to give it to West Virginia. I think that they're going to be having their comeback run after this. I think the only team I expect to really be beating them, obviously, is Northwood Blue. I think Northwood Blue above them in my rankings. And then Missouri S&T against San Diego State. This is a pretty big match, I would say, for these 2 teams, just because I think the loser of this is basically just out of the Nationals conversation entirely. San Diego State just got that upset over Columbia College Silver, which kind of brought them in. Missouri S&T just kind of have to be out of obligation because they randomly will show up and go like 8-0 at the end of league play to make it to the playoffs, or now what's going to be Nationals. So we're going to have to see. I am going to give it to Missouri S&T. I'm going to say 3-2 again. I think it's going to be close. I don't think either of these teams are going to be close enough to make nationals. But basically, it's just the loser is just dead in the water at that point. Just fighting for placement and some prize pool. And then we have Danger Taco stream. St. Clair against Kennesaw State. I think this is honestly going to be a pretty similar story to what we just talked about. St. Clair and Kennesaw State, 2 teams fighting around that like 6 to 10 spot. It's going to be really tough for both these teams, and the loser of this is most likely going to be out of that race unless they can pick up some really big upsets. I'm honestly, I feel like I have to put Kennesaw State here, just because I have Kennesaw higher. I was really impressed by them at the start of week 1 and in the preseason, especially in their quals, how well they were doing and everything like that. And St. Clair, they look solid. I think that they can definitely win it. It's a real toss up. And then Kennesaw against Rochester. Sorry, Rochester. Kennesaw, I definitely have a 3-0. Rochester just still have not proven anything, while Kennesaw pretty much have. And then moving on to the mainstream where we get, oh my goodness, so many good matches here. Oh wow. We're in for a treat of this week's main stream. Northwood Blue against Old Miss. My number 1 against number 4. And if you don't remember from Summer Series, Ole Miss beat Northwood Blue in the top 8, which was a massive upset at the time. Of course, Northwood Blue were not playing nearly as much. They were playing from home. I don't think anyone was taking Summer Series too seriously from that, especially because they were still dealing with RLCS and that kind of stuff. While Ole Miss, I know, were definitely taking it seriously as their first time in CRL. I am going to give this to Northwood Blue. It's going to be a game 5, I think. Very close match. Ole Miss 100% have the ability to upset there, bring Northwood Blue back down to everyone else's level. I think Ole Miss is maybe the best team to give Northwood Blue their first loss, so it'll be really interesting. And then we get Akron Blue against Fisher College. Akron's on a massive tear right now, really showing everyone what they have. Fisher College, there's still a decent amount of question marks. They look solid, but we didn't see Fisher at all in Summer Series. We're not seeing them much at all in any other league. It's basically just CRL for them, and then they're doing their own pro thing. This is a tough one. I'm going to say 3-2 in favor of Fisher, but I could easily see Akron upsetting this match. And then we move on to Nichols College against Oakland. Nichols, a little underwhelming week 1 for them. I think that they know that. I think everyone else knows that. I'm going to definitely still give it to Nichols. I think that they should take week 1 as a wake-up call, that they need to start, sorting things out right away. They'll beat Oakland. Oakland did not look that amazing against Akron. Oakland did not look that amazing against Akron Gold, so we'll just have to see if Oakland's able to come back. I'm not sure that they will. And then CSU's on the mainstream 2 weeks in a row. First time it was St. Edward's where they got swept. And now they're against Maryville, the other top 2 team in my mind. It's like CSU, we're really just asking to get beat on stream, but against St. Edward's, it was actually a really close match. It was 3-1 game 1, 1-0, I believe, in game 2, and then an overtime 2-1 in game 3 in favor of St. Edward's. So it was super close. Of course, Maryville are looking incredibly strong. It's going to be another 3-0. It's also important to note that CSU is also getting Columbia Navy out of the way this week on a alternate stream. At this moment, it's going to be on Taco's stream. So, I mean, getting all those early matches out of the way is going to be pretty big for CSU. They might be starting with a slightly lower record, but we're learning pretty well how the team needs to play, and it should hopefully, elevate them to higher levels against these other teams that they absolutely need to beat, like Columbia College Silver, Kansas, Borregos, those sort of teams. And then to end the stream, end the week in stream matches, it's the Battle of Mexico. Monterrey versus Carolina. And this is going to be an exciting one. For one, we can't say that ping's going to make any difference because they should be relatively the same. Monterrey do have that experience, though. Dragonas have not looked incredible. Granted, Monterrey's like 0-3 right now. So Monterrey is not looking all that great either. Who have they also lost to? They've lost to Boise, they lost to Columbia, and they lost to Maryville. So Borregos and CSU were basically taking the same route here. Beat Dragones, lose to the top dogs. I'm going to give it a 3-1 in favor of Monterrey. They should be able to take that, but very excited for this week. There's going to be so many good matches. I'm super excited to watch them all. Make sure that you guys tune in every night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be tons of fun, and I hope to see you guys in chat. That's all I got. Peace out.